Ho hum, it's another Fez night. Did I have these last week? I got my glasses back, but I can't remember. Can't remember whether I wore these last week. I've got clothes in the dryer, so I have a deadline. I'm going to try to do this Fez night before my clothes, before the dryer stops. Of course, it's a big load. I'll probably have to put more coins in it. Yes, it's the coin-operated laundry in my apartment complex. Not that any of you care about that. Have I got anything else to say as an intro? No, not really. Time to don the Fez. Greetings, fellow citizens. This is citizenkong, and welcome to another Fez night. Tonight's Fez night shall be called Fez Night, Still Not Dead. I'm running out of ideas. I like to come up with the ideas on my own, so I know plenty of people have made great suggestions, but I'm kind of there was one or two occasions where I did use somebody else's suggestion for a Fez night. What do I do? Hey, I want to give a shout out to Maria, who is having trouble with YouTube because of copyrighted material. Well, you know, rules is the rules. If you have to close your channel, that's too bad. Kind of like having you around. You know, it sucks. I would sure like to upload some videos using my favorite music and maybe clips from things that I like, but we can't. I mean, when YouTube first started, we could do that, but all those crybabies, the record companies and the film companies, are all just crying. What is it L. Brookman said? Once a artist creates something, it belongs to everybody. He did say that. So you're not a capitalist, right? Oh no, he's got the newspaper in his hands. Well, first of all, I'd like to go over some of the comments from last week's Fez night. Oh, I'm running out of time. So let's real quickly. Minnie Herminator says, it's been a long time since I've seen one of your videos, back in the long hair and beard days. Well, it has been a long time. Remember some of you when I used to have a ponytail? The Leon Show. There's a great French film you can see on Netflix called Delicatessen. It should set the record straight on Obama. I've seen Delicatessen. How in the hell is that supposed to set the record straight? It's a French film in some post-apocalyptic time, and people are desperate. And there's a man who sells meat, and it turns out that it's cut up people, and it's done humorously. It's a really, really good film. I recommend it. It's not a horror gore fest or anything. How you can make that connection is beyond me. You really did do thousands of hits of acid, didn't you? He says, LOL. I guess that was a joke. One of the best movies of all time. I really did enjoy it. Also an old film from 1929 by Salvador Dali. Actually, Salvador Dali participated in it. It was Buñuel. I think it was really Buñuel's film, but Salvador, God, I can't remember his full name. Buñuel did, I think, a movie called The Exterminating Angel. He did a film taking place in Mexico called I can't think of it. It has to do with children on the streets of Mexico City. Buñuel. Yeah, he's made a lot of movies. By Salvador Dali. Yeah, it was actually a Buñuel film. I could look it up, but I know Salvador Dali did some of the graphics and participated in it. Un Chain Andalou predicts the 2012 Holocaust again. You're completely nuts. There was all kinds of graphic images in that film. The most graphic image, I think Salvador Dali definitely had a hand in this, is a eye with then a straight razor is taken and slicing through the eye. And from what I understand, it was actually a cow's eye, but it's made to look like it's a human eyeball. You know, it's like in somebody's face or something. How that predicts the 2012 Holocaust. And then he writes in French, so C-O-L-O-L. Good to see an old-fashioned Fez Night. Well, thank you, Leon, aka Jeff Davis. Official CIA channel. I'm gonna have to contact Dr. Bender. He's been under deep cover, and should I take my fez off when I say stuff like that? I'll have to contact Dr. Bender. He's been under deep cover. You know, the Royal of the Fez. We are everywhere yet nowhere. All right. He says, official CI channel says, hey girls, it's Dinorama, not Diorama. I know I got that screwed up the week before. Bah, we've been searching in the wrong place. Wind it up and pull in some pitch. The female form looks so good in black and white photographs. More, please. I'd like to. I mean, I could go through my... I did all the ones that are on my hard drive because I got a scanner at one point. I started scanning negatives, and those are what you see. But I've got piles and piles of negatives that I never printed. And, you know, because I was printing them myself. I didn't take them to the drugstore or the photomat or any place like that. I would like to. Maybe one of these days I'll get off my ass and do that. It's certainly easier than doing it in a lab. Citizen Troll Wife says, we're expecting a little troll. Haha, very funny. Napalm Blute, working during Memorial Day is acceptable when you live at beach locales because it marks the infestation of tourists for the rest of summer. Yeah, so true. When you live by the beach, it's a holiday vacation all year round. Yeah, the friggin' zonies, man. Those are people from Arizona that come here during the summer. Let's see, he says, buy glasses at ibuydirect.com for like $40. Sometimes even offer 2 for 1. Walt on Breaking Bad copied my frames. I love that show, Breaking Bad. I love that. It takes place in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which I have a very, very, very strong connection to that city. Yeah, it's safety glasses. So I found a website that specializes in safety glasses, and God, what a hassle, because it has to do with my prescription. My prescription only covers, like when you go to the place to buy your eyeglasses, they have the prescription that covers like how much adjustment you need. And then you pick out the frames, and then they measure the frames where your pupils go and all that. And they can't do that online very well. And that wasn't included in the prescription. And then when you order bifocals, it becomes even more critical. Then they have to measure like how far up and down they have to do the adjustments. And then transition bifocals is which I'm wearing now and which I want to get for my safety glasses. At first I didn't like them very much, but now I'm totally used to them, and they are better because you have a shifting range as you tilt your head, like this way for really up close, and then actually to see stuff really far away I look through the top, and there's sort of like gradations in between. It's pretty cool. Whereas a regular bifocal, it's either up close or far away. That's it. My friend Reese, he got trifocals. Crazy, huh? There's like 3. So transitions kind of are like do the trifocal or whatever, but it's a gradual shift. So anyway, I agree with you, Napalm Blue, wholeheartedly. Nothing will ever top film. HD can go get fucked. I don't see the appeal in HD. Everybody's high definition, high definition. You know, for some things, they just film. Film can have really high resolution. But even kind of interestingly, I've seen some films that were shot on really high, what do they call it? High-speed film is what they called it back in the day, so you could shoot stuff in the dark. And high-speed film becomes very grainy. It's much like, have you ever noticed, like when you're in the dark, how when you're trying to see in the dark, how you can't distinguish colors? And there's also, the eyes kind of do like this grainy effect, too, when you're trying to see in the dark. L. Brookman says, now you're sounding like Timmy. Well, you know what I could say to that, to L. Brookman? Fuck you. Sounding like Timmy. What the hell? I thought that vid was funny. It was a parody. We've already discussed this, L. Brookman, and that's when you said when an artist shares something with the world, it becomes public property. It belongs to everybody, and they can do with it what they want. To me, those sculptures, those bits of metal, were like my children. And how would you like it if you posted pictures of your children and somebody took that and depicted them as having, terrible things done to them, depraved things? You're an idiot. Look, it's my right to say it wasn't funny. I don't have any obligation to pretend that I enjoyed it. Okay? You're such an idiot. I think you've been drinking again, haven't you? With parody, you reshape something to make it humorous, thereby becoming a new creation. Am I right? It wasn't even a good parody. Okay? A good parody has some level of truth. Those sculptures had nothing to do with penises. Nothing absolutely whatsoever. And the idea of trying to depict me as interested in penises is far from the truth. Okay? Parody has to have an element of truth to it. That's good parody. If you wanted to call it shitty parody, I would agree with you. Currently, you look more like Steve Allen than Wally Cox. Well, thank you. I like Wally Cox. But like I said, it's just the glasses. Buddy Holly had this style glasses, It's just the glasses. Let's see, he says, wow, you liberals don't give a crap what Obama did, on and on about evil Republicans. Big news story. Alleged incident where some guy got a haircut when they were teenagers. I guess you were never de-pantsed when you were a kid or had your shoes thrown down on a street lamp. Doing that to someone means you can't be president. Laughing my ass off. Next you will, LMAO. Next you will break the big news story that Rodney gave a kid a wedgie. Fucking stupid ass hypocritical liberals. You know what that tells me, L. Brookman? Is that you were one of those bullies. I could totally see it. And you grew up to be a Republican. Remember those studies that say conservatives are like very uptight and scared children? And a prime candidate to be a bully. So you look back fondly on all those. Let's see. Did you ever give a kid a swirly? Did you shove a kid's head in a toilet? I'd honestly say none of those things ever happened to me. I've never been de-pantsed or had my shoes thrown on a street lamp. And yeah. And I've never... Oh, and by this, L. Brookman is advocating cruelty to animals. Because you think that's okay. Right? Hey, I'm not saying he can't be president. We've elected lots of assholes, as president. Nobody's saying he can't be president. We just need the people to know. People need to be informed about their candidate. All right? The truth. Not bullshit like Obama wasn't born in Hawaii. Donald Trump is still trumpeting that. God, I hate Donald Trump. I love watching his show, The Apprentice and Celebrity Apprentice, but every time I see him, I just wish I could just punch his face out. He comes on, he does this when he's sitting there listening. What an a-hole. Did I leave anything else out? Yeah, Romney stuck the family dog on top of a car and headed down the freeway, and the dog got scared and shit himself, and then there was an incident of bullying. And actually, the kid that they jumped was perceived as gay. I don't know. I mean, that's part of the sidebar story. Let's see, L. Brookman. Let's not vote for him because he put a dog on the roof. LMAO, liberals. See? Advocating animal cruelty. Once again, a conservative ideal. L. Brookman, do you represent all conservatives? Do you? Okay, it's not a conservative ideal. It's just L. Brookman. L. Brookman advocates cruelty to animals. He thinks it's funny. Let's see, you mean you can't live in a trailer or trailer park and not be a genius? Actually, I grew up in a trailer park. Does that make me a genius? Or a decent human being? LMAO. You're drunk again, huh? You were drunk. LMAO liberals. You can live in a tent on Wall Street, piss and defecate, rape women, and do drugs. Those are called occupiers. Uh, Really? I don't think all those people were doing it. I think that's an exaggeration. You know what happened with those Occupy camps is homeless people use that as an opportunity to go have a place to hang out. I think a lot of those things were not by the true occupiers. I want names, and I want individuals. I want actual proof that these things happened. I know some there was some bad stuff. Somebody OD'd, at one of those things. But I don't think it was a real occupier. I don't think it was a genuine protester. I think it was just a hanger-on. During the protests in the 60s, there were a lot of hangers-on. It's like, well, something's happening. I'm going to go meet chicks. And they didn't care. They just went down there to the love-in, to the be-in. Moo says, is this your channel, Moo? 8006 Zuri? She says, I want a Fez, Moo. I sent Riley a Fez. Like a dick nose. Why don't you talk to Riley? See if he'll give you that Fez. Whirlpool's End. At last, my first Fez night. The reason why I said that is Riley, I sent him a Fez, just being nice, and then he turned around and, what is it? There's an expression for that. When somebody pretends to be your friend and they turn around and fucking badmouth you, that's what he did. I feel like such a fool. I was nice to him. You know what? People are assholes. Like Timmy. Timmy's an asshole. I pretty much approach everybody. I don't assume you're an asshole until you prove you're an asshole. Okay? And that's what happened to Riley, and that's what happened with Timmy. Whirlpool's End. At last, my first Fez night for almost seemingly a decade. It's been a long time, Whirlpool's End. That's okay, though. You make friends, you drift apart, then you come back and you say, hey, what's up? Run into each other at the grocery store or whatever. We'll have to catch up. And you go your own way and you never speak to him again. No, I'm just kidding. He says, my notes is watching. Fours stroke polycarbonate lenses. Paper bags hide your face also. Oh, yeah. Referring to the beard. I've seen your work. No, you're not just a pretty face. I guess your flagger is just one stage beyond jealousy. Yeah, that's about my black and white nudes. Like this, for example. That would probably get flagged by a certain jealous person who's uncreative or a prude or whatever. I heard that in 2024, white Americans will be the minority, which is interesting as it gets me into a debate with myself, trying to distinguish the relevancy of that prediction, e.g., which half of Obama is white and which half black. I don't know. I think technically, the old phrase, the term for it was mulatto. I don't know whether they use that in Australia or in England or New Zealand or Tasmania, but yeah, which half? I think what happens is it all just gets mixed together, right? Yeah. Here's a channel called, I don't like using that word, so I'll just say N-word, bitch gone wild. Oh, my laundry's stopped, and I'm still blabbing. When Al Sharpton becomes the Secretary of the Treasury, we're going to get our reparations and send you crackers to South Africa. No, that wouldn't make sense. Maybe you should just send all the people of German descent back to Germany, all the people of Welsh descent back to Wales, etc., etc. Whirlpool's End. Nobody looks like Woody Allen, including Woody Allen. Have you seen him recently? Poor old guy. But I gotta hand it to him. And I know it was controversial with the whole, marrying his ex-girlfriend's adopted daughter. Mia Farrow, was that it? Mia Farrow? Yeah. But he still goes after the young ones. He gets the young chicks, right? CAG uploads. Hey, Christine. Talking about old friends. She said, enjoyed this enjoyed this Fez. Thanks for posting. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome, Christine. Sublime Aqua. Sublime Aqua? Sublime Aqua. He says, what garbage? He's trying to insult me. I went to his channel. This guy has a love for photographs of women underwater. Hey, it's a pretty small little niche, isn't it? But you ever noticed some of those pictures of somebody underwater? I mean, you know, and the ones that I've noticed are women underwater. Somebody's calling me. I have to call this guy back. Yeah, that whole, like, their eyes are open. There's a really strange look, you know, to where the eyes. It's almost like they're not shiny or something. It's just really bold or something. Talk about somebody you haven't heard from in a long time. Coffee Dude 1965. I remember first coming to YouTube and hadn't had any experience with vloggers, and it was Methadone for Life and Coffee Dude. Those are the two people that stick in my mind most as people that when I came to YouTube that were vlogging, and I found, and I'm sorry if I'm forgetting anybody, but you guys were the main ones that I remember. Coffee Dude, real nice guy, and so I just got a voice message. And he says, I know all about Scotch-Irish blood, LOL. I'd love to see your art. Game of Thrones is awesome. One episode left. Oh, for the season? Oh, man. I watched the first season of Mad Men, but it really didn't get into it after that. Mid is full of shit on everything. I know a Mexican guy who doesn't like being Hispanic. He is proud of his Mexican heritage as he should be. Long live Fez Night. Yeah, I could see not wanting to be lumped in that big group of Hispanic. Yeah, Game of Thrones, I'm really enjoying that. And is it getting close to last episode? It's almost like you just can't wait for the next one. For me, it applies to me. I've watched I'm up to season 5 of Mad Men. And I'll tell you, I'm really hooked on that. And it didn't start out. The critics, as I said before, a lot of critics really like that show, so it sparked my interest, but I kept putting it off. And it is kind of slow to get into, but I am a fan of, well, the first thing that popped into mind, remember Bewitched, Darren Stevens? He was an ad man, you know, and it is kind of during that era, too. The suits pretty much look the same, the cars pretty much, I think Darren was a little bit after. I think Ad Men is like starts out in 1962. But with 5 seasons, it keeps moving, you know, up through the 60s. And there was a great movie called, it was a musical, it was probably on Broadway first, How to Get Ahead in Business Without Even Really Trying. And the actor that was starred in that movie, I want to say Robert Morse, but I might have that wrong. Anyway, he appears in Ad Men as one of the old guys. Yeah, God, I like that actor. He was also in a movie called The Loved One. Dare I waste your time with this? Robert Morse, I think that's his name. The Loved One's a great movie. God, you watch that movie? It's about the funeral industry in Southern California. And there's so many, Jonathan Winters is in there. There's so many people that you will recognize in that. I'm just trying to do a quick search for it. Come on. Let's see. The Loved One, 1965. Robert, did I say Robert Morse? Yeah, that's his name. He had a kind of interesting guy, a little gap between his teeth. Really, really good in The Loved One. Really, really good in How to Get Ahead in Business Without Really Trying. And he's on the show Mad Men. And I'll tell you about Mad Men. They do such a great job. I mean, I was born in 1961, and I do have memories probably starting about when I was 1 year old. I know I definitely have very strong memories of being 3. So that'd be like 1960, 1964. But the look and the social interactions, like the way how blacks are treated and how women are treated, African Americans, and in the show they're called Negroes, and the fashion and the cars, God, just the look, really, really, really spot on. And to me, I find that very appealing. And I haven't seen, there are very, very, very few shows that have such excellent character development. And you'll find yourself really hating somebody and then starting to like them again, like them later, and then kind of hating them again. It's so much like how human beings are. And the main character, Don Draper, would probably, if he lived in this era, would be labeled a sex addict, because this man cannot stay faithful. And, you know, he'll have this really beautiful wife, 2 kids, then later 3, just keeps cheating on her. The very, very first episode, you don't even know he's married. He's visiting some woman in an apartment, and they sleep together, and, you know, they're talking and blah, 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 pillow talk. And then later you see him leave and then basically go home, and then he's kissing his children. He's walking into the bedroom and looking at his children while they sleep. The thing about Don Draper, though, is he's very consistent. He is a good father. Now, cheating on their mother makes him a good father, but as far as understanding his children, being kind, it's his only redeeming quality, really. And being an advertising genius, creative genius. I've always been fascinated by advertising, how to sell a message, to convince somebody, to sway somebody in such a small space. And I've got ink stains on my fingers. A small, or 60-second commercial spot, billboard. You know, I mean, I admire writing that gets to the point. And that's kind of the interesting thing about tweets on Twitter, even though I'm not a member, but I'm kind of thinking of signing up for that. Nobody would follow my tweets, though, anyway. But the idea of distilling the message to its absolute essence without being too verbose. I'm not saying don't use big words. Sometimes a big word carries more in a smaller space than trying to explain it with small words. But the idea of distilling, instead of these long verbose sentences where I see some people try to write that way to make them sound intelligent. And I look at that and go, you could have said that in one sentence. You know, to me, there's an art in that. That is truly good writing. And in advertising, I'd have to give it to them. There's all kinds of drinking. These guys are drinking at the drop of the hat. All kinds of smoking. Plus, I like the suits. I like the skinny neckties. And then there's a clash between him as some sort of like square, and then the beatniks, and then later sort of the hippy-dippy types. And there's this great part on the last episode I watched where his partner, his last name is Sterling, Roger Sterling, who married like this woman half his age after he divorced his wife. And she wants him to go someplace to meet her friends or hang out with her friends. Turns out it's a place they're going to drop acid. It's really cool. And this guy just totally, like, he has all these revelations, and seemingly it makes him a better man. The guy's kind of a scumbag to start with. All right, real quick, the newspaper. I know this is going on really, really way too long, but in a way, that's like an old-fashioned Fez Night, isn't it? A Fez Night that goes on too long. All right, I picked something out, and I set it near the top. Here we go. Well, real quick, today's newspaper. I saved a couple things here. Okay, Arizona. Baby lands in street, mom held. Okay, so this woman put her 5-week-old baby on the roof of her car and in a safety seat. and then forgot about it and then drove off and it fell in the street. Catalina Klauser, 19, had been smoking marijuana at the home of friends. Klauser left around midnight. Police say she apparently put the sleeping baby on the roof and drove off, forgetting he was there. It could happen to anybody. Okay, the kid could have really been hurt. There's an example of some people shouldn't smoke pot. I bet she was doing more than smoking pot. I bet there was some alcohol involved. You know, when you combine the two, woo! At least for me, I can't do it anymore. Cannot do it again. I found this interesting. Let's see if I can get this close enough. Oh, I'm not allowed to show graphics, according to the rules, But paralyzed rats walk again. And it shows this poor rat on his hind legs. It's in the Los Angeles Times, Sunday, June 3rd, 2012. And the headline is, Paralyzed Rats Walk Again. Scientists help forge a new path between brain and spinal cord. But the real kick is this, it shows this sort of shallow staircase, and the rat is in a harness, and he's on his hind legs, and he's going up on these stairs. There's something holding him up, though, the harness, and there's this little tether. But for those of you that are quadriplegics, that's good news. The funny thing is, though, is the two. I used to work for a quadriplegic, and he was conservative and against stem cell research. And dollars to know it, I bet some of this has something to do with stem cell research. Soup of neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. Norepinephrine. I should practice this before. I used to be pretty good at sounding out words. But I got these ones, serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. Injected let's see. I don't see anything about stem cell. But the conservatives are anti-science anyways. Oh yeah, science! Who cares about science? One year they're saying the earth is flat, the next year they say it's round. Science is bogus. Anyway, I'm sure there, in some sense, I'm not going to say stem cell research is they don't directly say that. But anyway, stem cell research was going to help with that. The other famous quadriplegic on YouTube, he's got some wacky political ideas. So I doubt that he would vote in any politician that would help back scientific research. All I know is he hates Obama, and he believes the Rothschilds control everything. Okay, there was this one thing in here. Then we'll go. This was the headline in Thursday's paper, May 31st. States voters oppose making pot legal. In California, only 46% support the legalization of general or recreational use by adults. But several years ago, that number was lower, and the number still keeps going up and up. So given some time, we'll go beyond just the medical marijuana thing and go into actually someday, possibly, if we're still here and the country doesn't completely fall apart or the whole world economy doesn't fall apart. I have to go back and rewatch that movie. I think it's called The Corporation, because God, a lot of the stuff they said seems to be coming true. It's that the whole capitalist system is about to collapse. It could never continue the way it operates indefinitely or forever. I mean, there's going to have to be some compromise between some sort of socialist ideals and capitalism, because capitalism on its own cannot sustain itself. They've already taken up too much of the planet, and there's just too much damage, and there's overpopulation, and capitalism needs a place to grow. And once the planet cannot sustain it, then the whole thing's going to collapse. That's it in a nutshell. But anyway, I'm going to go off on a tangent. But here is the breakdown of the statistics. Marijuana use. Do you think marijuana should be legalized for general or recreational use by adults? All registered voters, 50% no, 46% yes, don't know. By age group, now this is interesting. 18 to 49, 53% said yes. Over 50, 39% yes. 18 to 49, 44% no. 50, over 50, 56. So basically here, if you're younger, you're more likely to be in favor of legalizing marijuana. By party registration, yes was 50%. Republicans, 28% said yes. Independents, 60% said yes. Those that said no, Democrats, 44%, Republicans, 69%. Now, if you think the war on drugs is unfair, in many ways, don't vote Republican. Do you favor or oppose allowing patients with terminal or debilitating conditions to possess and consume marijuana if their doctors recommend it, which is presently what we have in California and several other states? In favor, all of them. Okay, that's progress. All of them, 80%. Democrats, 85%. Republicans, 69%. Oppose, Democrats 13%, Republicans 26%. So there is a difference. You see people, oh, there's no difference between the parties. Whether you call yourself a Republican or a Democrat, it's all the same thing. They're all being manipulated by the puppet masters, the Rothschilds. No. No, when you actually talk to somebody that calls himself a Republican or somebody calls a Democrat, somebody calls themselves a conservative, somebody that calls himself a liberal, they are different. Their opinions are different. Their motivations are different. Let's see, here's a last one. Have you ever used marijuana for recreational use? Out of all of them, all of us, 38% have said that we have. No, 56%. And it's funny here, more whites, 43%, have admitted to smoking pot than Latinos, 24%. So if you get yourself a Republican conservative Latino, he's in favor of the drug war. I'm sorry. Oh, I totally forgot the whole thing. I never had a cup of tea in my hand this whole time. That's because I was trying to make the Fez Night go fast. I got smart this morning, and I filled a thermos full, so I can have my cuppa all day long. Still very hot. Okay, I think that's it. Yes, Fez Night is what garbage, says the man who likes photographs of women underwater. I wonder if you like that painting by, was it Waterhouse? With the painting of Ophelia. It's from the pre-Raphaelite era in art, and Ophelia is the character from Hamlet, and she drowns herself. And one of the painters in the pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood depicted her. And it's a very beautiful painting. It's her laying on her back in like a beautiful pond or small stream. And she's dead. Very, very beautiful. I think a very beautiful painting. All right, then. Thank you for watching. Fez Night, still not dead. Have a great week. Cheers.